Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have a special guest on. It is Coach Kon. Now, the reason why I think this guest is special is because he has a very interesting way of taking his coaching approach as well as the lessons that he's learned to helping business owners, business executives navigate what many people would call a crisis. And it's not just the crisis for now, it's any type of crisis that business owners are going through and helping them navigate that. So welcome to the show, Coach Kon.
Thank you for having me, Terrell. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we jump right into, your business, Coach Kon, can you tell us a little bit about your background before you started your current business?
Sure. Originally, I had studied and worked in performing arts. I did a lot of stage and TV production work, and operated from that aspect. But a lot of my studies have been in teaching and training. So it wasn't a far stretch for me to transition onto the business side, not just as an operator in the corporate world, but also as somebody who's focused on training and development. And in that aspect, I've had about 25, almost 30 years now of experience working with different organizations, different sizes, different shapes, different countries, and being able to gather a lot of knowledge and experience from those times, primarily in the areas of performance improvement, change management, organization, and leadership development. And just like you, I've had the opportunity to take that experience over the years that I've accrued, and now starting my own business, being able to offer that to smaller and mid-sized, mid-cap companies, and being able to offer them high-end service at a boutique cost.
Nice, nice. Now, when you mentioned about, the theater, the production background, I'm like, I can so hear it in the voice. I can definitely see that happening. Now, what I do like is, when you talked about, the studying and the training and the teaching, because I think even for myself as a CPA, I spend a lot of time really helping my clients understand how, I guess you really say how to understand the financials and how to use it in their business. So when it comes down to the coaching and training, like how much of that, you say formal training and education plays a role in the way that you customize the delivery of your services?
Mm. Well, that's a great question. I think I've been very, very fortunate and very driven in my career to be able to take every opportunity that was given to me, that was presented to me, to continuously sharpen my saw, if you will, and add every chance I got another tool into my toolkit. The beauty of having that kind of breadth of both industry experiences, being able to operate from hospitality and restaurants to the cruise industry, from the travel industry to call centers, from restaurants to higher ed to construction industry, to all of these different industries where you realize that there is such a unique aspect to each one of them. But what they have in common is that people are people, and being able to find ways to help these organizations in all these different industries capitalize on their human capital, if you will. If you look at that from a perspective, in your world, you look at the resources, the financial resources that you have, and how do you make the most of those. In my world, I take that asset that people say is their greatest one, their people, and I show them how to maximize that investment that they make in those people and truly unleash the potential that those people have to make the difference for their company, give them that competitive edge. And having that experience from different industries, I'm able to take good ideas that have worked in one sector and then take them, tweak them, modify them, and apply them into a whole nother industry or sector. And hence I call the company Fresh Biz Solutions.
Awesome, awesome. Now, what's also very interesting is, you've had this wealth of experience of developing, your skills of being able to do that. And it's always interesting to hear like, how did you make that transition from just being good at the skill and actually building a business around the skill that you developed?
Right. Sometimes you can only connect the dots looking back. You don't really know because every step you take, it's kind of like you're traveling at night and you can only see about as far as your headlights will show you. So you don't really know. You have a general idea about where you want to go, but you can only see so far. But truly, when you look back on how much ground you've covered, you can connect those dots and realize it. In many ways, I live by one of my favorite quotes, which says, the two most important days in your life are the day you come into this world and the day you realize why.
Mhm.
Well, for me, I realized that I love to learn. I'm a lifelong learner. So I've used every opportunity to continue to grow my knowledge experientially through studying, through certifications, through different things. A big reason why I do that is because I actually love to teach as well. I love to coach. I love to see the light go on in somebody's eyes when they finally grasp a new idea that can help them, that can make a difference in their lives. Whether that is a small child that we're coaching out on the soccer fields to a seasoned executive that in the boardroom, finally, after so many years, something has clicked in them. And from that perspective, I've really enjoyed that opportunity. And that's kind of what's driving me. It's almost like a self-fueling, a self-fulfilling piece. The more you're able to help people, the more it fuels the desire for you to do more.
Awesome, awesome. Now, before we started the interview, one of the things you mentioned about a book that you've written, and I also saw from your LinkedIn profile. I mean, there's so many different places that you've been sharing your message, and on television, on different shows. Can you tell us a little bit about the book and those appearances that you've been making?
Sure. Thank you. The book is a response, if you will. It was co-authored with my dear friend, my brother, if you will, in arms, Dr. Ilya Gurguris. The two of us, just like millions of other people, were impacted by this, the orders to stay home in mid-March when it shut down everything and we were forced into this pause. Now, typically, when two Greeks get together, we open a restaurant. In this case, we figured that we couldn't feed enough people, so we figured let's put our heads together, let's use our collective experiences, and write a book. So he came to me and says, "Are you in?" I said, "Absolutely." Now he's approaching the conversation, our joint venture, if you will, from the perspective of being uh, somebody who's mastered his psychology aspect of that. He was a counselor for many years. He has his PhD in psychology, and he's a corporate wellness counselor. So he brings a wealth of experience from that piece. From my vantage point, I've helped companies and individuals manage change and improve performance over the past 30 plus years. So from that aspect, we were able to put our heads together, and within 45 days, now think about that, 6 weeks,
Wow.
while most people were binge watching their favorite Netflix show, we were able to put together a book that we really wanted to get out there in the hands of people. It's a practical guide, very easy to consume, and a place where people can go to get advice and insights on how to manage the pandemic, but beyond that, how to emotionally deal with crises in general, anything that comes into their life. Now, sometimes it might be a global event, but more times than not, it'll be something that's personal to them. The loss of a loved one or the loss of a job, the a venture that didn't go well, that's a crisis for most of us. Now, in this case, we're dealing with 4, 5, almost 6 crises right now. We're dealing with COVID-19, which is impact all of us physically and brought a lot of uncertainty. We have the financial insecurity that all of us are dealing with right now, and what's going to happen with that. So many people unemployed or underemployed or not sure where their next paycheck's going to come from. I mean, for entrepreneurs, this can be devastating, not knowing how their clients, how their customers are going to react to this because it impacts them. You've got the situation now with out in the streets, social, racial justice. I mean, people are on the streets like it's 1968 again and
Wow.
looking for answers to that. And rightfully so. There's a lot of pent up frustration with that. And then you have the mental crisis, the mental health issues that are going on. 1 in 4 Americans are reporting practically that they have significant issues with stress, anxiety, depression. Across the globe, more than 1 billion people now are impacted. And these are not people that had chronic problems. These are people that are experiencing it now. We talk about pandemic fatigue and everything that's going on. So that doesn't even include the natural disasters, the fires, everything that's raging, hurricanes, whatever else might be impacting your corner of the world. Humans are not built to be able to sustain this much stress over this amount of time.
Gotcha.
So we're all having problems with this. The book is a response to that. The book is an answer to that that says, here's some messages of hope. Here's a roadmap to resilience. Here's 7 keys to help you navigate this process.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Awesome. Thank you for definitely sharing that insight. So, quick question on that is, where can people find that book?
The book is available at most retailers as far as book goes, but primarily right now on Amazon. It's probably the easiest way. You can get the paper copy, or you can get the ebook there as well.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Now, tell us a little bit about some of the appearances that you've been making. Because I saw, if you check out your LinkedIn profile, we see all the highlights of different places you've been speaking and the messages you've been sharing. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, I've had the privilege and the honor of joining guest people like yourself as a guest, podcast hosts that have a broad appeal to people in different sectors, different sections. Sometimes the audience are individual people that are looking for ideas on how to improve their life, self-improve. Sometimes it's business leaders and entrepreneurs that are looking for answers to their business. And that way we've been able to help them, because the old playbooks, quite honestly, don't work, Terrell, right now. They need answers to this, and people are looking to them. Whether you're the head of a family and you have responsibility for your family, or you're a business leader and you have responsibility for the livelihoods of so many others, you need answers, and we're able to provide them through the book, through the podcast, through the advice that we're giving to people, and TV appearances where we've had the opportunity. For example, like Good Morning Arizona, we were able to be there on the morning where they recorded at the time their highest rate of COVID infections. So
Wow.
people are starving for those kind of answers, and we're able to provide that to them. And like I said, as an individual or as an organizational leader, if you're looking for answers, we can help from that piece. And that's what we're trying to do, reach as many people as we can. Now, the good thing is that the audiences are growing, the reach is growing. So we've had the opportunity through media, through publications and things like that, to reach people across the globe. Dr. Ilya and I quite often speak to people also in Europe, Asia, a lot of Southeast Asia people, in Africa even, where people are asking for those kind of things. They want to know how they can get better. How can they deal with this?
Mhm. Awesome. So where can people find your business online, and where can they find, your profile on social media to keep an eye on what you got going on, what you're up to next, and then also how can, I guess, the website where they can do business with you?
Absolutely. So on LinkedIn, let me start with that one, which is very easy. If you go to LinkedIn, type in Coach Kon with a K, then you can find me there. So that's an easy place to find me. My website, my business, www.freshbiz with a Z solutions.com. A lot of information there about the book, about the services that we offer, about how we can help, or just simply to be able to book a consultation to say, hey, here's my problem, here's my issue, can you help me? And we're looking always to provide that service, and that helps people.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, before we wrap up, a question that I like to ask every guest that comes on to the show is, when you think about, your history, and you think about the things that you've overcome or the challenges you faced or just your business in general, what's two pieces of advice that you would share with other business owners?
Sure. And what I'll do is I'll take a couple of the keys from the book, because I think they're applicable, especially during this time. So the first one that I would encourage people to do is stay flexible. Even if you look in the past, the Darwin's evolutionary studies, it's not the strong that survive, it's the flexible. So it's important for us to not be, as we call it, like an oak tree, immovable right now in the storm. Try to be more like a palm tree that flexes and bends with the storm and can come back after that storm stronger. So that's one piece of advice. Think about that. The second one is kindness. Kindness to yourself in the form of self-care, kindness to others, because I can guarantee you, from the people that are listening to us, for everybody that's listening to us, I guarantee you there are people that are worse off than us right now. So be kind to yourself first and foremost. Give yourself permission to be a little bit less perfect during these times. And at the same time, be kind to other people and understand that they might need your help, even if it's a kind word or a gesture or support. If you're a business owner, be kind to your employees and understanding, to your customers, and maybe even to your partners out there and to the community that you serve.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Coach Kon, sorry. With all the wisdom that you shared, I almost want to call you Dr. Kon. Coach Kon, thank you so much for sharing all the wisdom, sharing the insight. We'll definitely include some links so people can find you online. They can get a copy of that book and really learn and gain the value because now is a tough time for a lot of people, and people are really having to be flexible and adjust and adapt like they've never had before. And yeah, your message of hope, I think, would be tremendous to help people navigate and figure out how to move forward. So thank you so much for coming on, Coach Kon.
It's been a pleasure, Terrell. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like our content, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to see more of our exclusive content, you can subscribe and become a member on patreon.com/Business Talk Library. Hey, the Business Talk Library is the place where business makes sense.